Welcome back to the channel. I'm Daniel, and for the purposes of this episode, I have failed many times in my life. Three in particular I know of, and I will get into that in the future. We are going to overthink momentary muscular failure, and this is going to be the start of three, maybe four, probably three videos on this subject. We're not going to get into too much detail. Forgot my hat. We're not going to get into too much detail about the science because there's not much. People think there is, but it's mostly speculation, not even suspicion. It's mostly theory, it's mostly conjecture, and it's mostly what people think it is. It'll probably be another 100 years before we really know physiological what's going on. Anyway, give me a moment. How long is a moment? Momentary muscular failure. Let's look at this first word, momentary. How long is a moment? How long is this moment? Where does it start and where does it end? Where does the moment of muscular failure begin? Does it begin at the initiation of the repetition? I don't think so. Does it begin when the muscle's getting fatigued? Maybe. Does it begin right before the movement stops? Or is that the end of it? Or does it begin right there? And when does it end? Does it end when the weight is down? Or does it, when does this happen? When is this moment? When? So let's think about the word moment, and let's go into Google. Let's ask Google some synonyms. Is it synonyms? Synonyms? Is that the thesaurus? Moment. Moment. Come on. Slow iPad. Not a E. moment. 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 Synonym. There we go. All right. So let's look at some quick ones. Bit. Instant. Ooh, how about instant muscular failure? No. How about jiffy muscular? No, not jiffy. Brief? How about brief? Brief muscular failure. Okay, maybe. So could we say that? Brief. How about? It's difficult to figure this one out. All right. When does this happen? Let's talk about that in the next video. Okay, muscular. Let's look at muscular. What we really mean there is neuromuscular. So there are so many systems here: blood, muscle, lymph, neurology, even the skin. All of these systems are working together at the same time during this moment. What information are they providing and receiving during the moment, during that brief point? What is the brain receiving about what is happening in the muscle and about what is happening around? During that moment, is it mental? Is it physiological? Is it muscular? Is it chemical? Or is it all? There's probably more going on. I think it's probably that there are different phases that the cognitive part is first. I think cognitive failure happens first. I think most of us can agree on that. Um, but what happens after? All right, muscular. The only comparable word I can even come to think of that is biomotor. Um, my bicep is a biomotor. It is designed to do one function, actually a couple of functions, but um, its main job is to contract or to bring 2 points closer together. So that's that function. Um, all muscles do that. All muscles bring 2 points closer together. Sometimes very close, sometimes not close, just a little close. Um, the levers involved in this closer togetherness are what cause the tension level. So biomotor, how about brief biomotor? That's still it's still awkward. All right, so let's move on to failure. Hit people, please answer me a question. Why have you stuck to this word? I get the engineering point of it, that like a bridge fails, a piece of concrete fails, a steel girder fails. The thing is, when those fail, they're done. They have to be replaced. We don't replace our muscle. When when muscular failure happens without the moment, is done. Oh, he had pure muscular failure. He had complete muscular failure. What is that? I'm sure that's a thing. When the muscle can no longer function at all. I'm going to guess. Oh, let's step aside here for a moment. People say momentary muscular failure does not happen in nature. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Just before death. Ask any creature, okay, the ghost of any creature who was crushed to death by a python or any, or what is a boa, any constrictor snake. They are probably trying to push out with every bit of their effort, and just that their muscles fail just before they die, just before they are crushed. Something hanging on for its dear life, it's fallen out of a tree or off a cliff, just after its muscles fail and it dies. So momentary muscular failure does happen in real life right before death. That's something to remember. I do not think prior to exercise, I do not think momentary muscular failure happen repetitively. I cannot think of a situation. If you can think of a situation in history prior to 200 years ago, especially before the development of language, leave that in the comments. What scenario would have happened? I'm sure there are. It's passing my thoughts. Okay, so let's think about this phrase altogether. Momentary muscular failure. This is the worst possible phrase I can think of. It is bad. It doesn't say what it means. I can't think of a better one. Brief biomotor respite. Brief biomotor pause. Biomotor is the only thing I can think of to go in there. Um, God, anything else? The word failure has got to change. First of all, it is really bad marketing for a concept. Now, if HIT is just going to be a research tool, a science tool, and all other training things are going to kind of come off from that, that's one thing. But one of HIT's problems has been trying to market failure. You are trying to market failure. I have actually had people in athletics in Gainesville tell me they wanted nothing to do with the word failure. They weren't going to train anything that worked failure. And I'm sure maybe a few of you trainers have heard that too. failure in most people's world is not a good thing. Why don't we call, because when you get there, when you get to that point, you've achieved. You achieve something, you achieve stimulus. Why do we not call that momentary muscular success? Our momentary muscular achievement. Anything other than failure, really? Failure? It's got to be better. Uh, all right, let's look at the opposite. Let's look at the opposite of this term, momentary, long. I'm going to say long. Let's check. Momentary, is it, I think it's antonym? Is that the antonym? Yeah, antonym. Let's see. Is it uh, antonym, moment? Inconsequential significance? Ugh. Moment. All right, so long, increased time. Let's look and see. Occasion where. Let's look and see. There's not many antonyms for moment. Let's look at opposite. I would have thought that was the opposite. Opposite of moment. Not KF moment. Moment. I am using a old iPad with iOS 12. Still works. It's good enough for some tools, for some things I use. I have another one that I use for other things. Puniness, smallness, worthlessness. Interesting. Interesting. Littleness, slightness, trivial. Interesting moment. So, unimportant. I don't know. I don't know if there is an opposite to muscular. There are other things like bone, muscular. I don't know. If you can think of an opposite or an antonym to not muscular, put them in the comments. All right. We know the opposite of failure. It's success. It is achievement. It is completion. Incomplete would also be failure. For instance, if you do not finish a rep, you achieved momentary muscular failure? Really? Because volitional fatigue is the other word, which is almost failure. Some academics use the term volitional fatigue to mean failure, but it's actually almost failure. So, hit people. I have a challenge for you. I have a challenge for people in academia. Let's get rid of this word. Let's find a term that accurately describes or terms. I'm going to think it's stages. I know there are people who are working on this. I know Steele and what was his name? Fish. I forgot. UK people, researchers are working on it, and I know a lot of people here, and a lot of overthinkers like me tend to work on this too. But moving forward in the future, we have to have different terms. I think we need to get rid of this one term and go something like cognitive fatigue, uh, movement fatigue, or effort fatigue, or effort. Get rid of failure. Uh, just we need to get. If we change only that, I think we'll do better. If we just get rid, I get why some of you use it. I get it. I get why uh, high intensity adopted this from other training methods. It can be done better. So think about the words. Think about what these words mean in relation to what is happening. Momentary. Is it the moment? I don't think so. I think it's the moment right before the movement stops. That's my opinion. Um, the next time, we're going to go over other thoughts about what is happening there. We're going to go over the kind of the stages of effort, initiating effort, effort of fatigue of effort, and the effort that happens right when this momentary muscular failure might be happening. I don't know. I don't know when it ever happens. In the next episode, we're going to talk more details on that. And then the third episode, I'm going to tell you why I think this is wrong. I'm going to explain in as best detail I can why people have the possibly, I don't know, possibly have the incorrect conclusion, incorrect idea of what is actually happening. And I'm going to explain in detail. Well, mostly detail. For now, train hard, maybe not necessarily to failure. Maybe. We'll see. For now, train hard, train quality repetitions, quality effort. Don't do none of this business. It's not. Ugh. Focus on your repetition. A single quality repetition makes all the difference in training. Comments. Thank you.